all-new Dr. Phil. She met her dream man online.
Hunter told me he loved me over the phone.
This clearly was romantic.
Yeah, I shared everything with him. I never imagined that he was talking to another girl.
I first met Hiram over Twitter. He saw my picture and he thought I was beautiful. He told me he loved me and he made me feel special.
In love with the same man. But
you're not the only ones.
7 girls.
The man you had feelings for, the man who you thought was Hiram, is here.
And a surprising twist.
What did you think when you found out your identity had been stolen?
Now,
I had never seen a catfish like this one.
the real person behind the deception.
Did you fall in love with any of these girls?
The co-eds and the catfish.
They all say they're afraid of you.
With a shocking revelation
Are y'all ready to meet the person behind this whole thing?
you won't believe.
Today, it is one of the most twisted and bizarre love deceptions we have ever covered on this show. It starts with 7 girls who are complete strangers, but they have a lot in common. Beauty, brains, and many of them students at prestigious Brigham Young University right here in Utah. Most of them were all falling in love with someone they thought was the man of their dreams. Their Prince Charming, a man they wanted to marry someday and live the fairy tale ending.
He made me feel special, and he told me he loved me.
He became my perfect guy. It almost seemed too good to be true.
He would always say things like, "Oh, you're just beautiful." That made me feel wanted or desirable.
But what they didn't know was that they all had one more huge thing in common. None of them had ever met their mystery man in person, and they soon found out their dream man was the same person. Today, in an exclusive interview, these women are all here to confront the person who stole their hearts and crushed their dreams, face to face. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hillary, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
I first got a text message from this guy. He told me his name was Hunter. He told me he saw me at a party and that he got my number from one of my friends. I really loved his personality. I loved talking to him about everything. Hunter was my perfect guy. I laid out all of the things that I wanted in a perfect guy, and he was all of those. He told me that he was attending the University of Utah,
Right.
which is just like 45 minutes away from me.
Right.
He was living about 15 minutes away from there with his grandparents. He had 2 or 3 older sisters and then a younger sister. He had served an LDS mission in South Africa.
So, the familiarity of the surroundings, he says, I'm a student 45 minutes away. Why not say, well, hey, I'll meet you in 20 minutes. Let's meet halfway and say, hey.
He had excuses at first, like, oh, I'm studying for finals, or I'm going to leave to go home for Thanksgiving and Christmas break. And so it made sense. Maybe he just likes to take things really slow.
How long before you talked to him and heard his voice?
It was probably about 3 weeks.
What'd you think when you heard his voice?
He had kind of a southern accent, and I am a huge fan of, like, cowboys and guys from the South, so I thought that was awesome.
And he sent you photos?
Yeah. Yep. He sent me photos. Pretty tall. He had dark hair, and yeah, he was cute.
What'd you like about him?
We had a lot of similar goals. We had similar religious beliefs, and it just seemed like on every level we just clicked.
How long was it before you got really disappointed that you hadn't met him?
It was my birthday, and my roommate had invited him to my birthday party, and he said he would come, and then last minute he said that he had to work and backed out. And by then I was really disappointed, and I was starting to get skeptical of this person.
But when you meet somebody that fits, he fits your beliefs, he fits your values, you like the way he looks, you guys laugh, you tend to be forgiving, right? You kind of bend with it and go with it. And
Yeah.
Were you falling in love with him?
I loved him as a person, and he said that he loved me. I considered him one of my best friends.
So this clearly was romantic.
Yeah.
But as this unfolded, there was another girl at BYU that fell in love here, had a romantic relationship as well. So let's meet Sarah.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great.
While you were a student at BYU, you met someone as well. Tell me how you met this person.
I first met Hiram when he messaged me over Twitter. Within the first couple weeks, he told me that he loved me. He had told me that he had gone to BYU the semester previous, so obviously he was Mormon. At this point, he was living in El Paso, Texas. He told me everything that a girl wants to hear.
Did you like him?
I mean, initially, it was just kind of getting to know this person, and he had told me that he went to BYU previously, and he was about to leave on an LDS mission to Boise, Idaho, and that piqued my interest because I grew up in Boise, so I wanted to talk to him about it, and he kind of came on strong at first. I was a little bit flattered that he was so interested that he wanted to talk to me all the time.
How early did you see a picture of him?
Pretty early, I would say within the first 2 weeks.
Good-looking guy?
Yeah, he's really attractive.
You said he started saying some things that, I don't know, would turn a girl's head.
He was really good at saying everything that a girl wants to hear, and it kind of kept me around because he told me things like, I feel like things are different with you. I feel like there's a reason I found you. He thought I was beautiful.
Did he tell you he loved you?
Yeah, he actually told me within the first couple weeks that we started talking that he loves me.
So why not meet?
At this point when he was talking to me, he was supposedly living in El Paso, Texas.
Yeah, but he's headed to Boise. He knows where Brigham Young is. I mean, did you want to meet?
Sure, but at the same time, we talked for about 3 weeks before he left to Idaho on his mission. And I kind of figured a LDS mission is 2 years, and he was going to be gone for that period of time, and I didn't really think anything would come out of it.
Do you have a smartphone?
Yes.
Why not pop up on FaceTime and say, hey, it's me?
During an LDS mission, they don't have cell phones. The only way that they communicate with friends or family is via email.
But was he on mission at the time?
No, he was about 3 weeks away from leaving.
So he could have FaceTime before the mission.
Yeah, we could have.
Clearly, this is somebody you invested in.
Sure.
So you had an online relationship, you had an online relationship, and another girl at Whitley had an online relationship at Brigham Young as well.
I met Hiram through Craigslist. I was intrigued by Hiram because he seemed mysterious, but normal at the same time. My roommates and I would host a get-together every week, and I always invited Hiram, but he always made excuses as to why he couldn't come.
Were you concerned about this guy in the beginning?
Not
I mean,
really.
It's a Craigslist responder.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said he went to BYU. He was living just a couple blocks away from where I lived.
So this is somebody that's got some common elements in your world.
Exactly, yeah.
And you get a picture?
Mm-hmm. He sent, I think, 2 pictures. He looked like a nice guy.
No red flags.
I didn't really see any until he did. Well, okay, maybe there was one. He texted me, I think, a week or so in and told me that he had actually been lying about everything that he said, like that he wasn't going to BYU. He said he lived in Texas, and I was mad, but he somehow drew me back in.
So you three make a connection. 1, 2, 3, all make a connection with somebody, different levels, different ways, but you're all sharing things. You're opening yourselves up to somebody, right? Well, so was Kelsey. Hello.
Hi.
You met somebody online, right?
Yes. I met a man named Hiram through Twitter.
And that's a fairly common name, right?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that was the name of the brother of the founder of LDS, right? So I mean, that's a respected name.
Yeah.
And you started tweeting back and forth at first. Did you form a relationship?
Yes. We connected because we're both LDS.
Right.
At the time, he said he was living in Texas, off a semester from BYU, and we just connected.
Did it get romantic? Did it get serious?
Oh, of course, I thought he was attractive. I fell for the idea of how wonderful this person was. He was very sweet to me. He knew how to kind of lure me in and help me when I was down.
Right.
To kind of be there when I needed some help and some love.
Did you reveal things about yourself?
I did, and I became vulnerable because he was such a sweet talker.
Yeah.
That when I would notice on Twitter with him talking with other girls, I did become a little bit jealous.
Okay, you're talking to Hunter,
Yeah.
but you're talking to a guy named Hiram.
Yes.
And you're talking to a guy named Hiram. And you're talking to a guy named Hiram. It's the same guy, right? Hiram's a common name, but it ain't that common. This is the same guy, and you're not the only ones.
Coming up.
The man who you thought you were dealing with, you had feelings for, the man who you thought was Hiram is here.
And later, a shocking twist to the story.
Wow, we found your dream man, and it's
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil. A baby ripped from her mother's arms.
A CPS worker and 5 police officers came to my home, searched my entire house. I literally thought, do you have the right family?
A father convicted of child abuse.
you had the baby on your knee.
I had to catch her by her face to prevent her from hitting a coffee table.
Was this an accident?
I've never abused my daughter.
Then why are you in jail?
All-new Dr. Phil. That's Monday. The co-eds and the catfish. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
All these girls thought they were in loving, fulfilling relationships. But soon their worlds were turned upside down when they realized that their perfect man was romancing multiple women at the same time. You're not the only ones. Mackenzie? Have you met a Hiram?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Megan. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Tell me you've met a Hiram.
I have.
Oh, boy. And we got a Tori. Let me guess. You've met a Hiram.
You're right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you getting work by the same Hiram. This is a charming guy. Help me out here. How do you wrap your head around this?
I still can't wrap my head around it. I never imagined that he was talking to other girls. He devoted so much time to me. We would talk on the phone every night for like 2 or 3 hours. I didn't think he had time to talk to anybody else.
Were the facts the same? Was he telling you the same stories?
For the most part, yeah.
Some details were similar, but
Some
for the
were
most
different.
part, they were all different.
Did he get messed up?
No.
How do you keep your story straight?
That's a great question.
Sarah, there was a point at which you pulled back, right?
We were supposed to go on our first date, and right before we were supposed to go on this date, he called me crying, and he said that his sister, who was supposed to be having twins, went into early labor and had lost one of the twins, and he was devastated. That was his excuse for not meeting me for a number of weeks, because him and his family were having a hard time with it.
He had a dog die.
Yes.
Did you ever hear about the dog?
Yeah.
You heard about the dog. Did you hear about the twin?
Yeah.
Twin. So 3 of the 7 heard about the twin. How does he keep it? I mean, what's he got, a spreadsheet?
I think that's got to be a beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because if you're in an intimate relationship, you know things that the average person doesn't know about someone. You have to remember what you know about that person. Somebody put a lot of work into this. Pass that to Sarah, will you please? This is typical of what I mean about how much went into this.
So this is from Hiram. He says, I'm sorry about fighting with you today and yesterday. I'll be sure to make it up to you. If we do get married, I promise to make sure our home will always be a temple to you. I love you, and that's why I'm going to marry you. I want to hold you and put my hand around your waist when I'm with your family or friends. I want them to know that I love you more than anything.
Are y'all surprised to hear that amount of detail in the relationship that he had with Sarah?
I honestly am not, just because that's how he was with me as well.
He sent you this gift?
Yes. Some edible arrangements.
You were able to track that down. Megan, you sent this to your friend Maddie. Read what you sent to Maddie.
Okay. I just have to brag for a minute. Hiram sent me a package, and guess what was inside? I almost cried. It was so awesome. He sent me a freaking new iPod, and he wrote me a cute note and gave me this envelope full of little notes, but I'm only allowed to look at one per day until he's supposed to get here.
This guy's putting a lot into this. Who does that? I mean, do you feel violated?
I feel extremely violated. How could I let this person who is doing the same thing to so many other girls do this to me? Like, why would I trust this person? Why would I tell this person all this information?
Do you wonder how you let this happen?
Absolutely.
How you let him get to you like this?
Yeah. All the time.
Are you mad at yourselves?
Yeah.
They can't even match the music. They can't even rap that is black producing. Now they wanna crack the new shit. They just wanna act that I'm bath the new kids. They can't even match the music. They can't even rap that is black producing. They just wanna crack the new shit. They just wanna act that I'm bath the new kids. Sorry big man, with your big life and your kick man. Sorry big man, with your big life and your whip man.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe that I could fall for this, but in all honesty, this person was an incredible manipulator and was really good at luring us back in after, you know, we did question it. But there was always a reason to come back.
I mean, think about it. Targeting someone and saying, I am going to defraud this person. I'm going to get them to invest in someone that doesn't even exist, and the day is going to come when they're going to find out it was all a lie. The man who you thought you were dealing with, you had feelings for. The man who you thought was Hiram is here. Keegan, come on out. Keegan, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing?
It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Thank you so much for being here. This is not Hiram.
No.
So tell us who you are actually, really.
I'm Keegan. I am a student. I go to a school in Montana, but I'm originally from here.
You ever been to El Paso?
I have not.
You ever seen anybody an edible arrangement or an iPod or...
No, sir.
You never talked to any of these girls 2-3 hours at night or anything like that?
No, sir.
How's he stack up as a dream man? He's a pretty good looking guy, right? It's got to be eerie.
It's weird.
To
look at a face and you're not even talking to that actual person.
Yeah, that this is who you thought was Hiram but isn't Hiram.
I feel bad. I didn't like you.
What did you think when you found out your identity had been stolen?
It felt very surreal. Like, I didn't really believe it at first.
Sorry this happened to you.
Yeah. I'm sorry it happened to y'all. It's not good.
I've done a lot of these shows, but I have never seen a catfish like this one. I had to track this catfish down for you. You will be shocked because the man behind this catfish scam is not a man at all. It's a woman.
Coming up, the real person behind the deception.
Did you fall in love with any of these girls?
When the catfish and co-eds continues. This May.
My ex-husband is a compulsive liar. He's malicious. He's demon-possessed.
No, you be quiet. A professor faces a firing squad of his exes.
He introduced me as his fiancé.
She thought we were engaged. I didn't believe we were engaged. I didn't say that.
Did you give her the ring you bought for Julie?
Yeah.
Please, are you kidding me?
An Amish mafia star comes under attack.
You think he steals money?
I really believe so. You're gonna sit here and lie all day or what?
I can't trust him. He's one of those Amish guys that controls their women. Let me talk.
from nanny cams.
A CPS worker and 5 police officers searched my entire house. I thought, do you have the right family?
To love scams.
She had sent him over $200,000.
He's my man. It's my life.
He doesn't exist.
It all happens this May.
Go to hell.
We'll leave her out of it for a minute.
We'll get her out of here then.
I'll just give it to you, you bitch.
A Dr. Phil exclusive. The co-eds and the catfish continues as the biggest twist is about to be revealed.
These 7 women just learned that the dream man they had met online was not who they thought he was. In fact, his identity had been stolen, and they were duped into romantic relationships with someone that wasn't real. The most shocking thing was who was behind it. The mystery man they were all in love with wasn't a man at all. It was a woman. And I'm about to confront this catfish now, face to face. But hello.
Hi, Dr. Phil.
How did you choose these girls?
I didn't.
You did, though. You did. You wound up focused on these girls versus 10,000 others. Was it just purely random?
It was, I would say, 100% random.
Did you see Sarah's picture or Hillary's picture or anybody's picture and say, I want to start a dialogue with her? Did you look at it and say,
Are you asking
I'm
me
attracted to this person?
Attracted to?
Sure.
Not all of them, no. You talk to people all the time, and not all of them started out with a relationship. Some of it was just casually talking, and it just got there.
No, but there's a point at which you assumed an identity of someone else. Was that so you could have a romantic direction to the relationship and explore those feelings?
I really don't remember the mindset I was in at that time.
You don't remember the moment that you sat down and said, you know what? I'm going to assume a male identity. I'm going to pick the name Hiram. I'm going to get a picture of a man and create this online identity. That is a complex operation. I'm just asking what the thought process was that you went through at the time, because it seems highly nefarious when you stand back and look at it.
Oh, I didn't have any evil intentions in this.
Why did you start pretending to be somebody you weren't online?
I created an online persona so that I could, figure out who I was and figure out if I was gay or not, or if I wanted to be a part of, the religion or not.
So you are gay?
Yes.
Are you open about that?
Before and now, no.
So that was one of your motivations to assume another identity?
I would say that that was the only motivation.
That's your only motivation?
Yeah.
The fact that you were gay?
And Mormon. Your religion says we love you, but we don't love who you are. Do I want to be a part of the church or do I want to be gay? And unfortunately, I saw myself in a position where I couldn't have both.
You assumed a male identity?
Yes.
And pursued intimate online relationships with women. Did you give any thought or consideration to the impact this would have on the other person?
I never thought that it would go this long.
If this was to explore feelings, why did you need more than one? Why add 4, 5, 6, or 7?
No, I don't know why it took so many.
Did it get to be sport?
Was making friends a sport? I don't know. Well,
with a false identity, pretending to be someone else, misleading them about who you are, yeah, that's kind of it's gaming. Friends don't deceive friends. Friends don't tell somebody they're a man when they're a woman.
No. The intent of the account was to tweet about the LDS conference. That's it. Was my mindset the fact that, I was gay and Mormon? Absolutely. I mean, you don't understand how difficult that is. You really don't. And so for people to sit here and judge me, because I sin differently than them, or say that, it's not okay to be gay and Mormon, that's tough.
I won't tell you I know how you feel. I can imagine that the conflict of someone with a deep conviction of faith, but yet a stark realization of who they are, that would be a collision of worlds that would be beyond stressful. But some of these relationships started to develop pretty serious feelings, right? You knew at some point they were going to realize there was no Hiram, there is no Hunter.
Yeah, of course, it's something that I thought about. It became that the lie was too much. I remember in the summertime, you know, I was like kind of constantly always going to bed with headaches and like just extremely stressed out that this lie was kind of starting to overcome, you know, my real life.
Did you fall in love with any of these girls?
Yes.
Who?
Coming up, for the first time, the catfish comes face to face with the co-eds.
Why did you do this?
The co-eds and the catfish. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
Did you fall in love with any of these girls?
Yes.
Who?
I definitely fell in love with Sarah.
Where'd you find the photo you used?
Facebook.
How'd you pick it?
It was just random. It's not like I had a chart.
Some of these relationships did get very romantic and sexual. Correct?
Correct.
Should they feel violated?
I would see where they were coming from if they do.
How did you avoid meeting them? Or FaceTiming with them or Skyping with them?
I know Sarah and I, we would always constantly fight about it. There was a lot of arguments about, you know, why we couldn't meet and things like that.
Well, how did you avoid it? How did you...
You know, you're busy, you know, you didn't have time.
Did anybody in your world know what you were doing?
No. It was tough because my parents had to, you know, learn about all this too, so.
You said in the aftermath that there's two sides to this, that these guys, they're not clean in all of this either. You've kind of described them as mean girls, that they've been hard on you beyond what you think is reasonable. What have they done?
When the truth came out, you know, they made, you know, phone calls to my mission president, you know, and basically outed me to him, trying to get in contact with my bishop, things that, you know, they weren't in line to do, and blamed me for certain actions that they did.
What do they blame you for?
For the fact that they were drinking and doing things with other people, and I took the blame for that.
How is that your fault?
Because I lied to them, so I made them go drink.
They all say that they're afraid of you in varying degrees, that they're worried, they're concerned, that they don't understand why you would do that to them.
Some of these women I haven't talked to in a really long time or haven't even bothered. That's kind of heartbreaking to hear that.
Okay. Are you ready to go meet these girls?
Okay.
Are y'all finally ready to meet the woman behind this whole thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Let's bring her in. Kayla? Kayla, have a seat. This is the man of your dreams. This is Hunter, Hiram, Kayla. Who wants to start?
Can I ask what triggered this in the first place and why you have done it for so long?
It's for the simple fact that being gay and being Mormon is hard. You know, your church tells you, we love you, but we don't love who you are.
Why did you do this?
And I'm not here to justify what I did. Is it hard? Absolutely. I went about figuring out my life the wrong way, and that's why I did it.
Was there a reason why you talked to some of us longer than others? Like I know for Kenzie and I, we only talked to you for maybe a month versus other people, you know, went on years.
I don't know. I think you click with people better than others. The situation with Sarah is completely different from the situation with Kelsey and Megan. It's just different. And I'm sorry that I dragged you guys into my mess. Whether you believe me or not, that's up to you. I'm sure your ringleader over here would tell you not to. I don't appreciate some things that are being said about my family. I don't appreciate you guys talking about my sister's miscarriage. That's something that deeply hurt my family.
I'm sorry for your sister's loss.
I don't appreciate the fact that you're sitting here telling people that there's a no contact order, but you have repeatedly tried to contact me through Instagram. I don't appreciate that. So there's only one side that's being told, and now here's the truth that you guys are putting me in a bad light, and I understand what I did was wrong, but there's a lot of things that have happened after this that it's uncalled for.
Coming up.
When you get indignant and it's like you're on some kind of witch hunt after me, when you're the one that has gotten into these people's lives, gotten them to disclose information to you under false pretenses, and then you get offended, I'm confused.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil. Accident.
He said when Naomi was falling, he caught her by her face.
Did you wonder if he did something?
Or child abuse.
I have never abused my daughter.
Then why are you in jail?
That's Monday. We now return to the co-eds and the catfish, a Dr. Phil exclusive.
I don't appreciate the fact that you're sitting here telling people that there's a no contact order, but you have repeatedly tried to contact me through Instagram. I don't appreciate that. So there's only one side that's being told, and now here's the truth that you guys are putting me in a bad light, and I understand what I did was wrong, but there's a lot of things that have happened after this that it's uncalled for.
Do you believe she's sorry?
I really, really want to forgive her.
Because you really roll your eyes when she's talking. There's 7 people here that have been defrauded, but yet she's indignant about what you're doing to her.
But this is how the situation always goes. She does something wrong, and she blames us for it. And this is happening right now.
She says you get a no-contact order on her, then you go after her. You go after her to her leadership, to her bishop, to make her life a living hell. That she's now become the victim in this.
I wouldn't say victim, but I think that after this, you have targeted me a little bit too much. And yeah, you file a no-contact order, so you're telling somebody, I am so scared of this person that I need the state to protect me. But then you go and you add me on Instagram? I mean, I don't think my pictures are that awesome. Like, why stay in contact with me? I'm trying to understand that.
I mean, we've both made mistakes, obviously.
Did you try to create jealousy among these people?
Yeah.
Jealousy?
Yeah.
Among each other?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they said yes, so we're just gonna go with them. Like...
Listen, every story I do on the Dr. Phil show is a teaching tool. And I'm trying to say, are there red flags you missed? If you got someone on the internet that you've never met telling you within a couple of weeks, I love you, come on. If it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. If y'all missed red flags, I want people to see that. If you're saying you're sorry, but in fact you're in here trying to create jealousy among these people and jerking them around and laughing, I get away with this and all of that, then I want to know that. I want people to know, is this the act of a sociopath or is this the act of a pained person trying to figure out something that's going on? And when you get indignant and it's like you're on some kind of witch hunt after me, when you're the one that has gotten into these people's lives, gotten them to disclose information to you under false pretenses, and then you get offended, I'm confused. And if that's not offensive to y'all, I don't understand why. Listen, I'm all about forgiveness, and I want everybody to leave here today and put this in your rearview mirror. But you can't do it with unfinished emotional business. If you got something to say to this woman, say it to her right now. Say it to her face and get it over with.
Coming up.
You introduced that as part of the fraud.
I do not remember that.
But you don't involve your family in your fraud and then complain about people talking about your family as part of the fraud.
Tuesday on an all-new Dr. Phil.
You got arrested.
I'm beating myself up over this.
Beverly Hills housewife Kim Richards.
I poured a drink of vodka, and I thought, oh my God, you know, what have I done?
Are you living a lie, telling everybody I've been sober for 3 years?
You look so international. Girl, what's your name? I have to know. Ain't no one else in your lane. Let's fill this car with gas and go. No hesitation, I'm on it. If that's the way that you want it, that's cool with me, so let's ride. Let's go somewhere that you lie.
The exclusive interview.
You are drunk in a bar fighting with a cop. That is not good mothering.
Is this an intervention? I'm sorry, I can't.
All new Dr. Phil, Tuesday.
Ladies, do you think you're having a midlife crisis? Did you act recklessly trying to recapture your youth by having an affair or walking out on your family? Do you now regret what you did and you're needing help trying to repair and put it all back together? If that's true, log on to drphil.com and share your story.
We now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive. The co-eds and the catfish. The face-off continues.
We were all hurt by you, and it's not funny to us. You have friends and family, and if you're having struggles, talk to them. You don't need to drag other people into this. Just stop, please.
Hey, I'm sorry. I made a mistake, and I'm sorry that I brought you guys into my mess.
Would you have kept on doing what you were doing if she hadn't spoken up?
No, because there's no point in me to do this anymore.
You were doing it to Whitley.
Yeah,
after we found out who
Whitley,
you were.
I had told her, I told Whitley, hey, Whitley, you know what? I'm not who I said I was. Did I or did I not?
Yeah, but you never told me anything, what your name was.
Yeah, at the time it was a lot to do with. Like, I had Sarah and I had Hillary calling my bishop.
It didn't matter if you were still, you told Whitley that you weren't who you said you were. You kept talking to her as a man.
Yeah.
Why?
Because at the time, I had so much going on. Like, I had you guys, and then I had my family that I had to talk to. Should I have told you the truth and closed the chapter? Absolutely. And I didn't.
You know, you keep saying you had so much going on.
Yeah.
But the question is, you can't be too busy to stop lying.
Yeah.
All you have to do is unplug. If you're so busy, that's just one less thing to do.
I feel like there's a lot of pointing fingers going on, but the whole point of this is to promote safety. And I think our main mistake was we weren't safe with social media. I told you personal information without even knowing you.
Do you believe she would have stopped if you hadn't found out?
No.
So you don't believe anything she's saying?
Yeah.
How did you find out?
She sent me a photo of one of the other girls, and my sister knew her, and it just kind of went from there. Then I found Sarah, and basically just found out it was Kayla through that.
She started talking to me over 3 years ago, so who knows how many girls she's done this to before me, or how many girls she's done after Whitley, or if she's doing it to people now. Like, you know, forgive us for not trusting this person that lied to us about everything. It's really, really hard to trust that this apology is sincere.
Do you not think about our lives as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if my family's going through this and they have to see this and they have to read these articles, that's ridiculous. And, you know, your family the same way. And I would appreciate if you don't talk about me in articles anymore. If you want to talk about your situation, that's fine. But do not mention my family again. Don't.
We're not here to bash you. We didn't come here to make you look like a bad person. We came here to make it public that this stuff happened.
But when you're talking about my sister's miscarriage, it's a little bit too far.
But you have to understand that we don't know what's true and what's false.
We can't discern.
And so on one end, it seems like kind of a bizarre story, but if that's something that hurt your family, we didn't mean to bring it up in a way that would make you feel bad.
There's one thing I'm confused about. Say whatever you want, but leave my family out of this and talking about the miscarriage.
Yeah.
How did they know about that?
Because it's something that, you know, I shared with them. And when I'm saying leave my family out of this, my family has gotten death threat calls, dropping the word. So when I'm telling you that there's a lot going on.
But didn't you introduce that to Sarah?
He told me that his sister, who was pregnant with twins, had lost one of the twins. And that was the reason he was upset and couldn't meet up with me.
You introduced that as part of the fraud.
I do not remember that.
Well, how else would she know about it?
Because we talked for hours. I mean...
So you did tell her that?
Yeah.
So you introduced it as part of the fraud. You're so worried about your family. Why would you involve them in part of your fraud?
If that was something that was weighing on my mind, why wouldn't I tell the person I've been talking to for so long?
But you don't involve your family in your fraud and then complain about people talking about your family as part of the fraud.
Kayla, we all told you about our real families and our real lives. Everything about my personal life, everything I told you was true. But you lied about everything. Like, we don't know what's true and what's false. Like, I just assume that everything you've ever told me is a lie.
How are we supposed to know?
I'm just trying to say, you're like a little boy that cried wolf. You know, you can't lie, and then say, well, they're supposed to figure out this was actually the truth and this actually should be respected. I think the only one being disrespectful to your family is you by involving them in the fraud, pretending to be somebody you're not. One of the real issues here that's kind of a confounding thing is that all of you actually liked this person had it not been framed up to be somebody differently. If there's a silver lining to this whole thing, I would think it would be take away the fact that you had a false identity. There's 7 people on this couch that all liked you very much.
Genuinely, a lot of these girls had very, very deep emotional relationships with you, and they do care about you. And I think everyone wants to see you get better.
You're funny, you're smart, you're witty. Like, you have so many great qualities, you really do. And, like, obviously we all liked that about you. And I told you straight up, like, I would have been your friend if you would have just approached me as Kayla, because you're awesome, you really are.
I think we all really hope that you just get the help that you need, because a mistake doesn't make you a bad person.
I feel like I've grown so much from this and learned a lot about who I am and how not to make these mistakes in the future.
I think problems are often really complex, but I think sometimes the solutions are really simple. You know that you made some really bad choices and you had some real conflicts going on with you, but the truth will set you free. This woman came here today to sit before you and answer your questions, and that took a lot of courage. There is power in forgiveness, and when you forgive people, it does not mean that what they did was okay. That just means that you choose to say, I'm not going to be locked in a bond of bitterness and hatred with this person anymore. I'm going to let that go. It's a choice. Can y'all forgive her?
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you forgive her, Sarah?
I would not say that right this very minute. I have completely forgiven her. But yes, I do. I want to forgive you. I will forgive you. I know I will.
It's a choice you make. You'll be glad you did. I'm proud to have met all of y'all. Hopefully, we have provided some closure and understanding for them today. Will Kayla ever catfish again? While there is no doubt what she did was wrong, we hope that with time she finds peace and learns to be comfortable with who she really is. We certainly hope that these 7 young women have learned some good lessons from this as well. They certainly say they have, and we hope that's true. For more information, go to drphil.com. We'll see you next time.